Hello Lana, welcome to Manifested Online Classes. My name is James Kenyani. We are going to come to some of the winding lessons, one of the last lessons, a last lesson of the topic Surds. Having gone through rationalizing, finding what a surd is, it is a time again to see at some further solutions in this final lesson on surds. So it is further solutions to questions. The main objective of this lesson is to equip the learner with the necessary skills of solving questions on the topic surds. So it is to equip the learner with the necessary skills of solving questions on surds. And as usual, we always look at the various questions to get what is required. So this rationalize. So rationalize the denominator. That one we know because in the last lesson we looked at the conjugate surd, the conjugate surd. But before we go to that, the learner should have already gone through trigonometry and knows how to easily get the trig ratios of cos 45, tangent 60, cosine 30, and sine 30. So it is a remembrance thing when you look at an equilateral triangle. Learner, this is an equilateral triangle. In an equilateral triangle, I don't need to tell you that this is 60 degrees. It should be at your tips, 60 degrees. Now, if I drop a perpendicular there, I know I'll have 30. And this will be 30. If I take that trig to have 2 units here I'll have 1 unit, 1 unit, 2 units, 2 units. So it's very easy to relate those trig ratios once we've got the rationalized the denominator. Like if I want to get, there is 30, 45, and 60. For 45, you assume you have 1 unit here and 1 unit there. So this is the hypotenuse. This hypotenuse will be the square root of 2. So this is 45 degrees. So from here you can easily get the trigs before you come and work the ratios before coming to rationalize the denominator. You can start here. The tangent of 45. The tangent of 45, learner, is opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent. It is 1 over 1. It is 1. You can want to get the sine of 45. Sine 45 is opposite over hypotenuse, learner, which is 1 over square root of 2. You can get the cosine of 45. Adjacent over hypotenuse. 1 over square root of 2. I would have already got that, and some of them seem to be in surd form. I'll come here, 30. Sine of 30 from here, opposite over hypotenuse, 1 over 2. the cosine of 30, there is one thing I've not got here. If this length, if it is kt, this will be the square root of 3, because 2 squared, square root of 2 squared minus 1 squared will give square root of 3. kt is equal to 2 squared minus 1 squared, which gives square root of 3. So the cosine of 30 will be 1 over square root of 3. Tangent of 30, opposite of adjacent. Let's look at the cosine of 30. Adjacent over hypotenuse. So it's, square root of 3 over 2. Tangent of 30, opposite of adjacent, 1 over square root of 3. We now come to sine of 60. The sine of 60. We start here, opposite over hypotenuse. Square root of 3 over 2. Cosine of 60, adjacent over hypotenuse, 1 over 2. And the tangent of 60, opposite of adjacent, square root of 3 over 1, which is square root of 3. So that one is able to help you as you rationalize. So we go to the solutions here. The solution, this will come to, you look for the conjugate surd. Conjugate surd of 1 minus cos 45 is what? 1 plus cos 45. So it is the conjugate surd that will multiply by the numerator and the denominator. So this comes to 2 times into 1 plus cosine 45 over 1 minus cosine 45, close brackets, into 1 plus cosine 45. So I can work 2 times 1, 2, plus 2 cosine 45 over 1 times 1, 1, minus plus cosine 45 minus cosine 45 minus cosine 45 squared. Because we have cosine 45 times cosine 45. Minus times positive will give minus. So when you come there, you'll come and have 2 over, this will cancel with this. Is that correct? This cancels with that. Cosine 45 minus cosine 45. So you'll remain with 2 over 1 minus cosine 45 squared. That's why you'll come there. What is the cosine of 45? What is the cosine of 45? Lana? 1 over square root of 2. So these topics are interrelated. You cannot do one. One is not independent. Trigonometry can come, you can come and get it on Surds. So you'll have come and have 2 over 1 minus 1 over square root of 2 squared. Because I already know cosine 45 is there. So that will work to 2 over 1. A half squared is what? A half squared, this will be 1 minus a half. 1 minus a half. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 will give you square root of 4. So 1 over square root of 2, 1 over square root of 2. You still get a half. So that works to 2 over 1 subtract a half, you get 1 subtract a half, you'll get a half. 1 subtract a half, you'll get a half. 2 divided by a half, you'll get 4. You'll get 4. You'll get 4. Because of space, I'll work B here and I'll work C there. We move to B. By now, I don't need to be repeating conjugate surd. In B, you'll have square root of 10 into the conjugate surd of this. It is 1 plus tan 60 over 1 minus tan 60, close brackets, into 1 plus tan 60 lana. You see how it's coming out? So I did the ratios there so that when I finish, I come and just fix in. So let's move and see where we'll get to. This is square root of 10. Square root of 10 plus square root of 10 times tan 60. Tan 60. Follow up correctly. Follow up keenly. I move down. 1 times 1, 1. So we have plus tan 60 minus tan 60 minus tan 60 lana minus tan squared 60. Tan of 60 squared. Tan squared 60. You can also write it that way. Tan squared 60. I already know the tangent of 60 here. I don't need to be bothered. It is here. The tan of 60. I'll just come and substitute. So I'll move again ahead. This will be square root of 10 plus square root of 10 tan 60 over, what happens to this lana? This cancels with that. That cancels with that. And you remain with 1 minus tan squared of 60. When I carry that way, I can now substitute tan 60. I know it's there, isn't it? Tan 60 is what? Square root of 3. So working up from here, this will come to square root of 10 plus square root of 10. Tan 60 is what? Square root of 3 times square root of 3 lana over 1 minus square root of 3 squared. Tan 60 squared. I already know tan 60. So tan squared 60 will give me that. What will I get? I'll move to square root of 10 plus this times this square root of 30 over 1 minus 3. That will give you square root of 10 plus square root of 30 divided by minus 2. Or you can write the final answer minus into brackets square root of 10 plus square root of 30 divided by 2. What happens in the answer? There is no surd in the denominator. That's why they call it rationalizing. They call it rationalizing. So we can look at the last one. It is a combined one. So I think I'll need some space. So I have to rub here because I'm correlating what I'm getting with those ratios. I can just get space here for C. C, we move to C. C, 1 plus cos 30 ln over 1 minus sine 60. Conjugate surd of the denominator. This will come to 1 plus cosine 30 over 1 minus sine 60. Conjugate surd 1 plus sine 60. 1 plus sine 60. That is how it comes out. So I open up. This one is very interesting. That one is very interesting because you need to expand. So 1 times 1, this will come to 1 plus sine 60 plus cosine 30 plus cosine 30 sine 60 over, you open up the other one. The good thing, I'll just come and substitute my values. I'll get there. So 1 times 1, 1 minus sine 60 plus sine 60 minus sine 60 plus sine squared 60. You watch very carefully. Sine squared 60. What happens to this? Cancels. So I'll be going there and taking the value of I get and I put it there. So this comes to 1. The sine of 60 is what? Square root of 3 over 2 plus square root of 3 over 2. The cosine of 30, cosine of 30 is the same as the sine of 60, cosine of 30. So what did we get here? We had 1. Let's just check again. 1 times 1, then sine 60 cos 30. So it's correct. Plus, we come here. Cosine of 30 is, the cosine of 30 is square root of 3 over 2. Then plus, what is the cosine of 30? Cosine of 30 is square root of 3 times the sine of 60 is square root of 3 over 2. All of these I'm dividing by 1. 1, 1. This should be minus, Lana. Minus square root of 3 over 2 squared. Squared. This is a half, a half, a half. So you'll come and get this added to this, you remain with 1 plus square root of 3 plus, when you multiply these two, Square root of 3 times square root of 3, you'll get square root of 9, which is 3. You'll get 3 over 4 over 1 minus square root of 3 squared is 3 over 4. So I need space. So working out that learner, you come and get 1 plus square root of 3 plus 3 over 4 over a quarter. When the a quarter reciprocates and goes up, the quarter has to go up. You are dividing by a quarter. So if I multiply each side by 4, this will come to 4 into square root of 3. So you multiply each side by, multiply this one by 4 and this one by 4. So you'll get 4 into 1 plus square root of 3 plus 3 over 4 over 1. I'm not yet done. I'll open the brackets. 4 plus 4 square root of 3. 4 times 4 will cancel out and I'll remain with 3. So the answer will come to 4 plus 3 like terms, 7 plus 4 square root of 3. That gives you your final answer. That gives you your final answer. That gives you the final answer. So learner, what you've learned today is that correlating surds with trigonometry, it has revamped one or two things you had forgotten about trigonometry, but all the same, we used it because some of the trig ratios are written in the form of surds, as you can see. But in the final answer, after simplifying, we don't remain with anything in the denominator. We don't remain with anything in the denominator. So having worked out that, it was a good ending to make the topic interesting and not to make the learner sad as the topic goes. So it is time to give a short assignment to sum up that topic. So learner, that is the assignment, rationalize the denominator as shown. So you'll just look for the conjugate surd of the denominator and multiply by both the numerator and the denominator. So I wish you well as you continue revising and working on problems on surds. And thank you very much for the audience. Bye-bye.